Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Data here with a late night live stream that can be watched later on for all of you waking up to the to get a recap of the first day of Free Agent Frenzy. The 2022 free agency period in the NHL opened up today at 12 p.m. Eastern, and it was a whirlwind of a day to say the least. Big names moving around. Johnny Gaudreau to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Andre Palat seemingly, it seems like he will be going to the New Jersey Devils. Nazem Kadri, still no news on him just yet. Brent Burns traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. John Klingberg he was gone. He was back engaged with Dallas. He's back to just being a free agent, so we don't know what's going to be happening there just yet. Doggy, welcome to the stream, my friend. Thanks for being here. And many, many other big names I won't go to just yet because we'll get to it in the recap. Obviously, there's a lot to cover in terms of what happened today, but I will try and make it as succinct as possible. It won't be like the live stream today where it's 2 hours trying to fill content, looking at deep stuff. We're going to look at each team, what they did today, go over the winners and the losers. For example, I see Detroit as a big winner. I see Vegas. I see Philadelphia. I see those teams as big losers, unfortunately. I see Carolina as a big winner. So we'll cover all of that, going through some of the JFresh cards, looking at the analytics, going through each signing, some more quickly than others. And, for those who are live here, thank you for being here. And for those who want to watch it afterwards, no problem. That'll be what we do. Just a quick thing before we get started, on this past week, it's been very busy with the draft, free agency. I got the Slavkovsky simulation out. So I think unless big, crazy news happens, I probably won't be posting any more live streams or big videos in the next few days. I was taking a week off or so from the uploads, like the franchise mode and all that, because I knew this would be a big week for live streams. So now that the live streams will be finishing with, the draft and free agency over with, I'll probably take the weekend just to be totally away from the channel, and then we'll get back into it next week with all the franchise modes. So thank you for all your patience in that regard. Thoughts on Deloria not resigning with the Wild? Well, he was getting money like that from the money and term like that from the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't blame him for taking that one. Rory says, hey, Data, so with Gaudreau signing in Columbus, I was thinking, what if Jersey or New York Islanders offer sheet Laine? Both teams have the cap and picks available to do so. What are your thoughts? I don't think it'll get to that point, honestly. I think Laine, I think he was leaning towards signing with Columbus, and I think he has even more reason to do so now with Johnny Gaudreau signed on long-term. So I think I definitely see Laine staying with Columbus. I don't think it'll get to that point where an offer sheet would happen. Plus, an offer sheet that big would cost like, 3-4 first-round picks. I don't think I see that happening. But with all that being said, let's get this party started. We'll check out the cap situation of the teams that we're looking at, and we'll start looking at it team by team. So starting off with the Anaheim Ducks, they make only two signings, but pretty big ones, I do have to say, as Frank Vatrano and Ryan Strome signed 3- and 5-year contracts respectively with the Anaheim Ducks. Two pretty big names right there. They lose other names such as, don't mind the groups and all that too much, but some of the names that are leaving the team: Zach Aston Reese, Ryan Getzlaf in retirement, Greg Patterson. They didn't really lose too many guys in that regard, but Larson, Milano, Sam Steele, those were some of the bigger surprises, especially Milano. I think that's a big surprise walking away from Anaheim. So looking at the current situation on Anaheim, and by the way, if you're curious about the current UFAs who are still available, this is what the list is looking like. I'll get to it at the end of this video to see who's still available. But starting off by looking at the Anaheim Ducks, Anaheim still have a lot of money to play with. They have over $30 million, so they are the location for cap dumps right now. They still need to sign some players. They have 10 forwards, only 4D. They have their 2 goalies if John Gibson is staying. They got to get some defensemen signed up for sure, but I do love the Strome and Vatrano signings for the Ducks. They're going to be pieces there semi-long term. I don't know if they're going to be there when the Ducks are getting good again, quite in that range. But, if the future first-line center is Trevor Zegras, you have your left wing of Vatrano and right wing of, let's say, Troy Terry. Your second line can be Henrique, Strome, and Maxime Comtois, perhaps. Or even actually Mason McTavish will be back. So, the top 6 is looking okay in Anaheim. I like it right there. For the offseason grade so far, 2 great signings, but some questionable people walking, and still a lot of salary cap and players get signed and stuff that they can do. So I'd like to see more from the Anaheim Ducks, as they still have a lot of potential in this offseason. Arizona Coyotes today, they signed Nick Bjugstad, Brown, Stetcher, Dauphin. They make a few good moves, and they let Kyle Capobianco walk, Phil Kessel walk. So another team that has salary cap to play with, as teams still want to use Arizona as a destination for cap dumps. Looking at the Coyotes here so far, they have still over $23 million to play with, and their roster is set. They have their 13 forwards, their 9D. They just need another goalie, I suppose, maybe. But yeah, they are good to go. And they have a lot of potential right now to take on more salary cap. They have their draft pick situation right now looks great. They have 4 second-round picks in 2025. They have 4 third-round picks in 2024, and the potential to get even more. So I like that their moves that they did today. Nothing crazy, just guys like Nick Bjugstad to fill out the top 6 right now. The forward core, all that good stuff. The Wild, they don't have a lot of salary cap right now, Doggy. The Minnesota Wild do not have a lot of salary at all. We'll get to them later on, but they're in a tight situation. The Coyotes, not much to say in that regard. Made a few signings, did what they had to do. Great. Boston Bruins today, the biggest move that they made, it's still in discussion of whether or not they will be, well, it seems pretty much locked in that they'll be getting David Krejci and David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron on their 1-year contracts, low salary and lots of player incentives, signing bonuses, stuff like that. So they have 4.758 to play with. They traded Eric Haula for Pavel Zacha. I wouldn't be surprised if Pavel Zacha doesn't actually end up playing with the Bruins. I don't know. It's going to be tough to make it happen. The Bruins likely have to move out Linus Ullmark, or they need to find a way to move on from either Derek Forbort or Mike Riley. They got to free up a little bit of money, not a crazy amount of money, but a little bit if they want to get all this done. 4.7, make that 7.7, or even 9.7 if you move out Ullmark, and it's going to be a lot more comfortable. So I'd like to see the Bruins do a little bit more, not in bringing in, but in moving out. That's what would have liked to see a bit more from the Bruins so far today. Yeah, Rory, can you take a minute to talk about the Atlantic Division? You could argue almost every team except the Habs are fighting for the playoffs right now. Yeah, well said right there. The Atlantic Division is going to be a dogfight in 22-23. Absolutely. Buffalo Sabres making a few interesting moves today as they re-signed Victor Olofsson to a 2-year extension. They signed Eric Comrie, who is like their 4th goalie in the system. They get Ilya Lyubushkin, and they get Clegg, Davies, Prisky, and other depth pieces. So you know what? I like the Sabres today. I think they realize that they're not going to be doing anything crazy. They have most of their team together already. They still have $20 million to play with, so another conduit for teams who need to dump cap. They're there. They're ready, willing, and able. Lyubushkin quickly, just like that, becomes the 2nd highest paid defenseman on the team, so I don't mind that. The goaltending situation is a bit curious. You have Comrie, you have Anderson, you also have Malcolm Subban available, and don't forget Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who has to be making the NHL at some point, right? He's an RFA, so a bit curious in the goalie situation. I'm not sure what's up in Buffalo. They must know something, but they have 4 NHL caliber goalies, not starters, but they have 4 NHL caliber goalies in their system. It's a bit curious. I will say that. It is a little bit curious. But I like the Olofsson extension. 2 more years. It'll bring him to UFA status. Not bad at all. I did want to go through the JFresh graphics as well for some of these guys. Maybe I'll sort it by the JFresh graphics moving forward, actually, instead of NHL.com. There's a few different ways that we could do this. I have to scroll all the way to the bottom here, as there's a lot that happened today, going signing by signing. I might go in chronological order of the signings. That might be a better idea for me right there. That might be a better idea. That's the pitfall of the live stream, right? You can't just cut and make it look clean and all that. This is live reactions, live analysis to all the stuff that's happening right now. Big extensions, of course, for the Tampa Bay Lightning, as they get 8-year extensions for Sergachev, Cirelli, and Eric Chernak. So we'll look into that as well. Day started off. Yeah, we're around this point for the day starting off. Yeah, here we go. Here we are. This is just before noon. Yeah, Darren Helm resigning, Riley Smith resigning. Yeah, so quickly as I get into these analytics, wins above replacement, the WAR that I'm going to be referring to a lot in the JFresh graphics. It refers to, Come on. Come on. A metric that attempts to translate a player's contribution in various aspects of the game into individual wins contributed to his team compared to a replacement level player. So, for example, if Connor McDavid gets 10 wins above replacement as the first line center of Edmonton, that is to say that if you took a 13th forward and made them the first line on Edmonton, they would have 10 less wins as a team. So that is what wins above replacement means. 13th forward, 7th D-man, 3rd goalie. Even strength offense, defense, goals per 60, primary assists per 60, drawing penalties, quality of competition, stuff like that is what goes into the percentile. So Robert Thomas starts off the day, big 8-year extension, paying him just over $8 million per season with the St. Louis Blues. He is a great player coming off of a career year. It's a big bet on an excellent breakout season. He was fantastic this past year, so the Blues are definitely going to open for more from him, because it'll be a great contract down the road if he can continue at the pace that he has been on. So that was what St. Louis did to start their day. I'll use this NHL.com thing to just recap what teams did, but I'll go through JFresh, I believe, to actually scroll through what happened during the day. We'll go chronologically in that regard. So apologies for kind of jumping through that. Next off, Vegas Golden Knights had an interesting day. They signed Riley Smith for $5 million, but then to free up $7 million, they dumped Max Pacioretty. I know Smith is younger. He signed for 3 years. Pacioretty was a 1-year expiring guy, and Smith is great. 60th percentile of wins above replacement, 86th for even strength offense. The problem is, this is a guy that's going to be moved in 1 or 2 or 3 years by Vegas because they're going to get more cap trouble. So to give $5 million to Riley Smith when they're in so much trouble, it's kind of, I don't know, ironic, makes me laugh a little bit, but yeah, it's very odd, I think, for the Vegas Golden Knights to be doing what they're doing. Let me just go back here for a moment. Make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah. Thank you. Lovely. Riley Smith, there you go. Darren Helm signing with the Colorado Avalanche, defensive 4th liner and penalty killer. No harm, no foul right there. I like it. Pavel Zacha traded to the Boston Bruins. Average guy. I think he gets a little bit more flack than he deserves. His finishing regressed this season. He's a middle six guy. He likes to create offense off the rush. I like him for the Bruins, but I don't know if he's going to get signed to the Bruins. That is the issue. So, Eric Howla, who goes back the other way, is 40th percentile right there. Not as great. He did benefit from getting to play with some very talented wingers this season. He played a lot of first-line top 6 minutes with the Bruins. So I don't think he'll get that with the Devils. But he does have the potential, 71st percentile of primary assists. He is not a bad player in the 40th percentile right there, just that it made more sense for the Devils. They need to free up money to go after Johnny Gaudreau. It didn't work out in the end, but they do get Palat, so at least there's that. Josh Manson re-signing with the Avalanche. I don't know. I thought he was better than this graphic told me, but he is one of the best zone entry deniers in hockey, but that also lands him in the penalty box extremely often. So down the stretch, his numbers were not good. 36% goals for percentage and 44% expected goals for percentage, but much better in the playoffs. We'll see how this turns out for the Avalanche. Not a bad contract, 4 by 4.5. The Avalanche did well today to try and keep the band together. It seems like only Nazem Kadri is leaving, really, and like Obi Kubel, Nichushkin, Lehkonen, Manson, and of course Kemper leaving. But those 3 names coming back, that's big for them. Brent Burns being traded, that was a big move right there. Ended up being a bit of a package that I'll get to later on, but Brent Burns essentially coming to the Hurricanes in exchange for a goalie prospect, a few other moves, players involved. He's at 34% salary retained. He's still a very good player. His age and his salary cap definitely had the biggest implications in why the Sharks would want to move him. What's a bigger shock, according to Crazy Cool here? Wright dropping to 4th or Gaudreau going to Columbus? That's tough. Those are 2 big shocks right there. I think I'll have to say Gaudreau to Columbus, I think, because it definitely sounded like New Jersey was the team that he was going to land on. So Brent Burns, he loves to shoot the puck. Something tells me he'll be chucking pucks again here in Carolina. He still has great zone exit metrics, rush offense metrics. He's still a very D-zone retrievals as well. Still a very serviceable defenseman. And at a much cheaper and more digestible cap hit, the Hurricanes will love that. So it's a big slam dunk for the Hurricanes. That was just one of their many moves on the day. Victor Olofsson resigning in Buffalo. We mentioned that. He's a good, well, he's not great when it comes to even strength offense or defense, but he's playing he's playing in the top six, but he's more of a bottom six sniper who is more, on the power play. And he's a sniper, but solid for the primary assists. So we'll give that right there. Really, who could have predicted this offseason for sure? Jack Campbell signing with the Edmonton Oilers as soon as it hit 12 noon. He's up and down. Vezina winner at one point. Looks like an AHL at another point. His skill lies somewhere in between. A lot of quality starts. Not so good. Not as many excellent starts and some pretty bad starts as well. Not great at high danger, but solid when it comes to medium and low danger. Not the most consistent either. So we'll see how he fits into Edmonton with a questionable defense in front of him. I do have to make that comment. Ilya Samsonov signing 1 year, 1.8 with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think this is it's pretty low risk, high reward on Ilya Samsonov. Meanwhile, Matt Murray is high risk, possibly even unnecessary risk, debatably very unnecessary risk, and high reward. So it's an interesting tandem of low risk and high risk. Samsonov 1 year, 1.8. He remains an RFA after this year. It's a good move for the Maple Leafs, absolutely. Thomas Greiss backing up Jordan Binnington in St. Louis. He's a solid backup. Ian Cole, 1 year, $3 million to Tampa. He's solid in even strength offense and defense there, especially defense. He's a good two-way guy, but he spends a lot of time in the penalty box in the second percentile here of penalties. And he is also costing them $3 million. So I was a bit confused by this move for the Lightning, who are trying left and right to retain salary here and dump salary there, and LTIR, the smallest little thing there. $3 million to Ian Cole seems like a lot. It is only 1 year, but he'll do well in the third pair for Tampa Bay, I believe. Claude Giroux, one of the biggest moves of the day, as Claude Giroux signed with the Ottawa Senators, 3 years at $6.5 million, a first-line two-way playmaking winger who facilitates both offense and defense very well. Not as puck-dominant as he used to be, but a very useful player. Huge day for Ottawa as they get Claude Giroux. They moved out, they moved in, they made a lot of moves throughout the day and throughout the last week. Giroux is an elite player in the NHL, 91st percentile right there of wins above replacement, 94th for even strength defense, solid numbers all around, doesn't really struggle in any regard there in terms of these numbers. So I think he'll be very good in the top six of the next 3 years on Ottawa. He'll be treated very well there. I don't think he'll ever drop out of that top six within those 3 years. The Senators will love having him. I don't know if they're a playoff team just yet, but they just need to fix up the defense a little bit, and they are there. Rory says the Leafs are wild. They're now paying over $5 million for two worse goalies than Campbell. Debatable, but I see the argument. Justin Schultz signing a 2-year deal with Seattle. The Kraken were active, signing Justin Schultz, Martin Jones, a 4-year extension for Nick Leddy. We'll see that in a moment. Curtis Lazar signing in depth as a 3 years. That's a lot of term for a depth guy in Vancouver. So not bad. He's a useful forechecker. There we go. 98th percentile of even strength defense. Kevin Rooney, depth move for the Flames. Nicholas Obi-Kubel, depth move for the Maple Leafs. Big move for the New York Rangers as they signed Vinny Trocheck. They let Andrew Kopp walk, and they take in Vinny Trocheck, the same money, $5.625 million, but 7 years for Trocheck, 5 years for Kopp. So they get an extra 2 years on Trocheck, and I guess they just liked him more. Crazy Cool says that he really liked Giroux to Ottawa. He fits in well, good veteran presence, who's kind of seen it all, but is young enough to keep him in a playoff push in the coming years. I like that. Good. Yeah, that's well said. He's going to like his time there. So Trocheck, he's a solid player. He struggles maybe a little bit in the defensive, even strength defense, but he excels at creating dangerous chances for himself in tight, especially deflections and one-timers. Put him on a line with a guy like Alexis Lafreniere. He could create some great opportunities there. He can pass the puck well, but he was less creative in that regard in Florida than in Carolina than in Florida. But, give him some power play time, give him the opportunity to assist with the right players, and Vinny Trocheck will do just fine in New York. 7 years, though, brings him to the age of 36. Hopefully the contract ages well. Andrew Kopp, who signs for the exact same money, but for 2 less years, leaves New York, goes to Detroit. I think one of my biggest winners, if not the biggest winner of the day, as they sign Andrew Kopp, 5 years, $5.625. Versatile top six forward who can pretty much do whatever is asked of him at a solid enough level. Shut down, faster rush game, special teams, all over the place. He is solid through and through. to be 100% on the penalty kill and 77% on power play, that's like unheard of type of numbers. So that is great for the Detroit Red Wings. I'm going to go through, I put out a tweet about how I love the Detroit Red Wings day. We'll go through all that later on. Now we're just going through the signings. Later we'll cover some of the deeper analysis of what those signings mean and what kind of situation the teams are in. Now we're just covering the signings themselves. Nick Leddy, 4 years at $4 million in St. Louis. He's speedy, but he is a total liability at both ends of the ice. Tough. Primary assists per 60, that's good, but even strength offense and defense, yikes a little bit there. Yeah, 17th percentile there. He had a 46% on ice scoring chance share at 5-on-5, worst on the Blues. And the playoffs, it was 36.2, worst on the Blues, and second worst in the entire postseason. Bit of a curious move, but he's been good before. Rory says, am I the only one who feels that with everything Tampa lost, they're really hoping Vasily, Stammer, and Kuchkin's carry the majority? I feel like if they get some injuries, that could be in some trouble. That's true. But at the same time, I think they have a good bit of depth built around them to be able to say, okay, I can lean on Point, I can lean on Cirelli, I can lean on even like Ross Colton. They can't lean on Palat anymore, but Clorin's still out there. At least for this next 2022-23 season, I think the Lightning still have a very good chance. Max Domi and Andreas Athanasiou both signing 1 year, $3 million in Chicago. They just got to get bodies out there. And yeah, he's Max Domi, an elite playmaker, but otherwise struggles a lot. Athanasiou, he's a speedy middle six guy, who's going to do well, I think, in the boosted role that he'll have with the Hawks. Lyubushkin going to Buffalo, pure physical defenseman, solid 97th percentile of even strength defense, so should not look past that. Eric Comrie also to Buffalo, small sample size for sure. That's why the percentiles are a bit skewed, but good numbers in his small sample size with the Jets last season. And a backup role. Mikheyev, big move for the Vancouver Canucks. A lot of people were scratching their heads at the $4.75 million cap hit, but I like it for Mikheyev. I don't love it, but I like it. He's a very solid middle six winger with good impacts at both ends, creates chances with his speed, struggled to finish, but then he exploded for 20 goals. Solid for even strength offense, even better for defense. Goals per 60, he's up there. Penalty kill, solid enough as well. 79th percentile projected wins above replacement. I like it for Vancouver. The question really is just where does he fit in the lineup? But he himself is a solid pickup for Vancouver. I like it. Brent Burns to Carolina. We already looked at that. Halak, I believe one of the best, if not the most underrated backup in the NHL. 100th percentile for excellent starts. Great in high danger. I love Yaroslav Halak. He is going to be the Rangers' backup this year as he signs for $1.55 million for 1 year. He will back up Igor Shesterkin, of course. Crazy said, I heard Mikheyev got bigger offers from other teams. I can't imagine him getting paid $5, but I suppose other teams saw it. He liked Vancouver's direction, I guess. Ottawa, biggest winner of the day, ask Legend. I think the biggest winner of the day is Detroit, but Ottawa may be the biggest winner of the offseason so far. I'll say that. Colin White leaves Ottawa, goes to Florida. 1 year, 1.2. This is a good prove it to me type deal right here. Bottom six defensive forward whose production nosedived after he got locked up long term. Interesting reclamation project. I think he'll do well on Florida. I think he will. I really think so. 71st percentile of even strength defense, but really no offense to look at right there. I think he'll get, put him in a nice bottom six role, less pressure, solid team. He'll do okay. Oli Mata signing in Detroit, 1 year, 2.25. Rock solid defensive defenseman, 82nd percentile for even strength defense. I like this move for Detroit as well. 92nd for penalty kill. Frank Vatrano leaves the Florida and New York Eastern Conference vibe that he had this year, moves all the way to the Pacific Division, goes to Anaheim, 3 years at 3.7 per year, middle six sniper who loves to carry the puck. Goals per 60, 90th percentile right there. So really something to make note of for Anaheim, where he'll get an increased role. Time on ice says that he's a fourth liner, but he'll be playing top six right there. So 65th percentile of projected wins above replacement. He'll do well on Anaheim. I like it. Adam Gaudette, depth piece for the Maple Leafs. Brett Kulak, 4 years at 2.75 with Edmonton. I'm a huge Brett Kulak fan. He's a defense-first guy. He does all the little things right. I really enjoyed watching him as a Canadiens fan. And in the playoffs, when I watched him on the Oilers, I was impressed. 77th percentile right there, and 95th for even strength defense. Big Brett Kulak fan, and happy to see him getting paid well with Edmonton. Nemesnikov, depth piece with the Lightning, but he's getting paid $2.5 million despite being a bottom 6 defensive winger. 82nd percentile even strength defense. That's what Tampa Bay needs, guys who can be down there and slot in when needed. $2.5 million. They have the money this year. They won't next year. No problem. Mikhail Sergachev got his 8-year extension as well at $8.5 million per. Tied for second highest paid on the team, as the first highest paid is tied between 3 players. The second highest paid is between him and Braden Point. He's making like $700,000 more than Victor Hedman. So he's had a strong puck moving and a solid 2-way game en route to 2 cups. Not sure he's been an elite number 1 for them, which he will now be paid as. Solid primary assists per 60, good even strength offense. Defense has left some to be desired right there, but solid enough projected wins above replacement that Tampa sees the potential. Also getting 8 years is Anthony Cirelli, who is one of the best defensive forwards in the game, gets the Selke votes. He is a future mini Patrice Bergeron, perhaps. High-end second-line shutdown center who makes up for a merely above-average offensive skill set with high-end forechecking and elite defensive play. Doesn't draw penalties, is in the 99th percentile for even strength defense, plays against high levels of competition, 85th percentile overall for wins above replacement. Love it. Last 8-year extension goes to Eric Chernak, who is a very underrated defenseman, I do have to say. Crazy to see him getting an 8-year extension, but Tampa, they want to be sure of what they have, and they will be. $5.2 million per year for Eric Chernak. He is one of the league's most reliable defensive defensemen, consistently facing the toughest matchups and shutting them down. 97th percentile in competition. He plays against the best players in the league. And with all that being true, he still sits in the 96th percentile of even strength defense. So you really got to say, I like this one, probably one of the deals I like the most for the Lightning. That contract makes our trade to Drouin hurt a little less. No way our Habs could afford that cap hit for Sergachev. Maybe that's true, Rory. Maybe that's true. So I like that deal a lot for Chernak. We'll look at the Lightning situation in a little while later, but just to say, it will be very difficult for them next season. Justin Tokarski, depth third goalie for the Penguins. Brendan Lemieux, depth for the depth 3.5 mil. Physical bottom 6 forward for the LA Kings. Darcy Kemper, you know what? I've given Darcy Kemper a lot of flack. It is true that he hasn't really been a starter. He's been a starter for like 2 or 3 out of his like 9 or 10 NHL seasons. So you're definitely betting on what could be rather than what has been. But, when I looked at his numbers, I got to stop giving him so much flack. 96th percentile wins above replacement here. He's flown under the radar thanks to playing in Arizona and then suffering an eye injury in round 1 that hurt his play on the big stage. But he's been one of the best goalies in hockey the past 3 seasons. And I got to give him that. High danger, 95th percent. Medium, 86%. Quality starts, 92%. He's had very few bad starts as well. Got to give it to him. 5 years, 5.25 in Washington. He will be the starter for the Caps for the next little while. Patrick Nemeth in a cap dump traded to the Arizona Coyotes. Yikes. Nick Bjugstad signed by the Coyotes in a depth move. Mason Marchment, this is a big deal for Dallas, and it's a digestible cap hit as well. I like that very much. Josh Kramer, I'm a Flames fan, and I want death. That is all. Understandable, Josh. We'll get to the Flames later on. 5-year deal at 32. I think that's the only questionable part. Super loser. Good point there. The AAV and the landings place and all that, I guess it's just because it was too much of a goalie carousel. It was a goalie's market. It was a goalie's market, and it makes sense, I suppose. Games played percentage, only 63%. It made sense that the team that got him would have to pay maybe a little bit more. But Mason Marchment, very, very underrated player. He's a 2-way winger coming off one of the most bonkers seasons in recent memory. He was on a 78-point pace with 4th-line minutes and elite on-ice impacts. He goes to Dallas at a very digestible AAV. 83rd percentile for offense, 97th for defense, 83rd percentile for projected wins above replacement overall. Love to see that. I think that's a very, very solid deal for the Dallas Stars, who needed some offensive talent, especially with the departure of Alex Radulov. Brendan Smith, depth defenseman, signing for the New Jersey Devils. Noel Acciari signs for St. Louis, 1 year, 1.25. Offense-oriented fourth-line centerman. Not bad numbers right there. Colin Blackwell to Chicago, just filling out the roster pretty much for the Blackhawks. Oscar Lindblom, I love this signing for San Jose. 2 years at 2.5. Again, very digestible numbers. He's dropped off a little bit since an extremely promising 1920 season, but ended up in a fourth-line role. It would be great to see him bounce back, and I think he absolutely will. 61st percentile wins above replacement, solid goals per 60. He plays against solid competition as well. Good finishing, pretty average even strength offense and defense. I like this pickup for the Sharks very much. Rory says the Caps will hate that deal come year 3, I think, but Kemper fits the Ovechkin window. There's probably full retool mode post-OV era if he ever quits playing. Yeah, that's very true, very true. I don't know. The jury's out in Darcy Kemper. I'm not a huge believer, but those stats make me think twice. Nick Cousins, depth move for the Panthers. 2-year deal for him right there. I like it. Big move for the Avalanche as they get Arturi Lehkonen signed on 5 years at $4.5 million. Very hardworking, forechecking middle six winger. Elevates everybody he plays with. He has scored some very clutch goals as well. Absolutely. Excuse me. Crazy cool saying Martin Biron on TSN earlier saying that 21-22 had 33 more unique starting goalies than 11-12 goaltenders. So goaltenders are in very high demand, but the supply of elite superstar goalies is pretty low. Well said. Yeah, Martin Biron is right. Arturi Lehkonen, he provides solid offense, and he's really up among the best in the NHL when it comes to even strength defense. Goals per 60 was respectable as well, and all of his other numbers are definitely digestible. That might be a word that I use a lot. 5 years at 4.5. I like that deal for Lehkonen and the Avalanche. Now, when we go through the cap situations of the teams later on, we'll see how the Avalanche are going to be able to deal with that moving forward. David Perron, we'll see that in a second. Nick Delorier signing 4 years at 1.9 per season. With the Flyers. Yeah, takes a lot of penalties. He's in the 12th percentile there. Solid enough even strength defense, I guess. Penalty kill, he's good. But 9th percentile overall for wins above replacement. He is not the contributor to a lot of wins. 4 years of term for the 31-year-old physical guy. Yeah, I don't know if I like this one for the Flyers. This screams like a spiraling move for them as they got Delorier and Braun, as we'll see later on. But yeah, tough day for Flyer fans. Absolutely. Yeah. Eric Goodbranson, yeah, this is my candidate for worst contract of the day, actually. 4 years, $4 million for Columbus. Physical depth defenseman who likes to throw pucks on net. Did okay in Calgary, but yeah, man. Let's go back to the stream for a moment as I'll show some of your comments up here. Good comment from Crazy Cool talking about Martin Biron. Chuck Fletcher, masterclass, absolutely. Rory says, not even a lot of good prospects. That's true. There's Wallstedt, Kosa, Wolf, Askarov, but not, that's why goalies are in high demand. It's like an NHL with defensemen. Makes sense. ZB Mano says, Florida has it bad today. We basically lost 2 first-round picks, one from Giroux trade and the other from the Sherratt trade. Lost Mason, Acciari. Yeah, it's true. It was kind of expected with the Barkov and the Verhaeghe extensions kicking in and, contract talks with Huberdeau. It kind of makes sense that had to happen, but it definitely still hurts. I hear you. Columbus had a weird day. Yeah, they signed Goodbranson, then they get Goudreau later on. So absolutely. Caulfield, yeah, asking for $50 million NHL 22. That's the type of contracts that we're seeing in franchise mode. Back to the scroll here. Jan Ruda going from Tampa Bay to Pittsburgh, 3 years at 2.75, third pair two-way D. It's fair to say that he's benefited from playing with Victor Hedman, absolutely, but still solid enough in his own regard there. The teammate percentile there definitely skews things a little bit. But even strength defense, 54%, primary assist per 60, not bad. I like it for the Penguins. Not a bad deal. Continuing down, Ben Sherratt signing with the Red Wings. Yeah, he's a physical defenseman. He was cast in a number one role he couldn't handle. Good skater, loves to battle, and takes a lot of minor penalties. He takes a ton of penalties. As a Canadiens fan, he takes a ton of penalties. Yeah, it's a curious case here. The Canadiens got a great trade for him, as the Panthers paid a lot to have him, but couldn't afford to keep him. He goes to Detroit. I don't know if I think I don't want to speak badly about him. I don't know. This is a tough one to see here. On paper, it sounds okay, but then you look at the deeper stats and you see 8th percentile of wins above replacement. He's causing losses, not wins. So yeah, he plays against high competition though, and that says something. I think he's a good fit for Detroit. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm trying to rationalize how he seems better than his numbers say. That's for sure. Ben Sherratt. Yeah, he'll do well. I think he'll do okay in Detroit, though. He fits that mold well. He'll be able to continue his top 4 kind of role. Burakovsky going to Seattle. This is a big move for them, actually. 5 years at 5.5 per season. Extremely efficient sniper whose production in third-line minutes has been consistently impressive. Exactly the kind of player Seattle needs, but also the kind that could get wrecked by Hackstall's system, the coach of the Kraken. 92nd percentile there, 93rd for goals per 60, and 97th for primary assists per 60. Great finishing, plays against high competition. This is going to be a big top 6 role now. He's moving from a third-line role to a big top 6 role with the Kraken. I like this a lot for Burakovsky. The Stahl's going to Florida as Mark Stahl signs a league minimum and Eric Stahl a PTO. So I like that for Florida, getting good veteran guys that are cheap. I like it. Yeah, it's good point from Legend. The in-depth statistics don't always tell you the full story. You can't live and die by them. I think Sherratt's better than 8th percentile there, it really says, but yeah, David Riddick, the new backup in Winnipeg, hasn't been great, really. Yeah, hasn't been great. Well, is a goalie, period. All you can really say. Greg McKegg, yeah, depth there for the Oilers. Big move again for the Red Wings, Dominic Kubalik. I like this move a lot, actually. Middle 6 sniper who somehow manages to put up okay underlying numbers despite doing very little other than taking shots off the rush. I like this a lot, actually, for the Red Wings. He'll be a middle 6 guy for them. 78th percentile there in projected wins above replacement. 84th in finishing. He finishes well. He shoots a lot. 67th for goals per 60. The micro stats were horrible. We'll give him that. Wasn't a good year in Chicago. That's why he got bought out, among the other reasons why Chicago is dumping everybody. But zone entries, zone exits, all that stuff, yeah, not great. The shots off high danger passes, great. But not much else to say. I'm curious as to why Chicago just didn't qualify him at all. It wouldn't have cost them a lot to keep him. But 2 years, 2.5 for Detroit, very low risk and a pretty solid reward potential. I like it. What else we got? David Perron, also to Detroit, the winners of the day, in my opinion. Rory's saying Sherratt was an absolute stud for us in our deep playoff run. Numbers can be misleading sometimes, but still a first for Hughes is wild. David Perron, solid defensive 2-way veteran top 6 winger who plays a patient offensive game based around the perimeter. Good long-distance sniper, and his style plays dividends defensively and on the power play. The numbers speak for themselves right here. I love David Perron. He's 34, so 2 years makes sense, and 4.75, yep, can definitely digest that number. Very, very good. Yeah, you could qualify some of the guys and trade them away, but some of these teams just not qualifying at all is a bit curious. I know if you can't trade them away, then you're forced to sign them, blah, blah, blah. But I know. What else do we see here? Justin Brunn returning to Philadelphia, 1 year, 1.8, all defense, 0 offense, veteran D-man. It was a disaster in the 2022 playoffs. Solid defensively, but again, Philadelphia, just a spiral kind of move as they wanted to get something done, and Braun and Delory become their big moves of the day. Perron and Andrew Kopp going to do wonders in Detroit. Yeah, I agree. Colin Miller going to Dallas for 2 years. Solid third pair guy, playing in a second pair role. Give him third pair. I think he'll do better. Max Pacioretty, huge move on the day. We'll break this down a little more later, but Max Pacioretty essentially traded to Carolina for nothing. Yeah, well, literally for nothing. Is one of the league's elite snipers, a high-end creator of scoring chances who's consistently excellent at finishing them. So numbers speak for themselves right here. It's crazy. And here's some other numbers right there. Zone exits, chances, shots off high danger, passes 98th, in zone shots 92, rush offense, blah, blah, blah. Vegas was desperate to dump salary. And yeah, that is going to come back to bite them, I think. The Hurricanes, I don't know how they swung it, how they get him for free and not another team. No one wanted to pay up a little bit for Max Pacioretty. I don't know. But that is crazy for Carolina, who had a good day bringing in Pacioretty and Burns for sure. Connor Brown traded from the Ottawa Senators to the Washington Capitals. Useful top six winger who's strong at carrying and passing the puck. Dangerous shorthanded, although his team does tend to give up extra chances against as a result. Not good on that penalty kill, but it looks like he's very solid everywhere else. He is a good player who won't have to play in a first-line role for Washington. So I like that move for the Capitals a lot. As they pick up Kemper, they pick up Brown. I like it. Andre Kasha also going to the Carolina Hurricanes, as he's nothing too crazy, but has solid enough even strength offense and goals per 60 to warrant a $1.5 million contract. I like it for Carolina. Welcome aboard, Pat. Thank you for being here. We're up late. We are up late. Yes, sir. Nico Sturm, 3-year deal with the San Jose Sharks. I like this one as well. Useful bottom six guy. He was very good with the Colorado Avalanche. I liked him a lot with the Avalanche as he came that Tyson Jost trade. I liked it. He's pretty good all around. I like the term on it, especially 3 years, $2 million. I like it. Martin Jones going to go back up Philip Grubauer in Seattle, 1 year, $2 million. The big move of the day, of course, Johnny Gaudreau. This is not the updated one right here. I'll get it in a moment. Actually, yeah, this is it right here. 98th percentile of wins above replacement. This man is amazing. Coming off a 115-point season, an elite playmaking winger, a singularly gifted passer and puck handler who possesses the ability to score as well, a dual threat off the rush and one of the best high danger passes in the sport. He's just amazing everywhere. Even strength defense is where he struggles the most, and even then it's at the 67th percentile, so not a big problem right there. Late one, yes, Mikey, late one. It's a shocker right there, absolutely. Goals per 60, primary assists per 60 in the 99th percentile. Even the micro stats, incredible right there. Some players have the main ones, but not the micro stats. He has it all. Pass types, rush offense, shots, zone entries. He's in the like 90 plus percentile for all of these things. Wild. Give him Patrick Laine, and this could be a match made in heaven. I love this for Columbus, although it's shocking that Johnny Gaudreau left money on the table. But hey, they got it done, and hats off to them. Hayden Fleury, a depth signing by the Lightning. A lot of these moves got forgotten, so I like that we're looking at them right now. 2 years at league minimum. I like this a lot for the Tampa Bay Lightning, who know that in 2 years, not this year, but the year after, they're going to have a lot of trouble cap-wise. They get him signed up. He could have a solid year, but he's still coming back in 2023-24 at league minimum. So strong third-pairing D-man who can score the occasional goal. I like that very much. What else we got here? Marcus Johansson returning to Washington, 1 year, 1.1. Depth guy, bottom six forward. Nikita Zadorov going to Calgary there, 2 years, 3.75. He's a third pair D-man who is a great fit in Daryl Sutter's system this season. He's going to be returning. Loves to spend a lot of time in the penalty box, but solid even strength defense when he is on the ice. What else do we have from the day? Got to catch my breath over here. Devils did make a deal around 7 years, $9 million AAV to New Jersey. Could have been over $10 million AAV to Calgary, but he ends up taking, where's the number here? I want to make sure I don't mess it up. 9.8 per year. So huge contract, absolutely, for Johnny Gaudreau. Definitely made sense money-wise for him. Let's see. Ryan Strome signing in Anaheim. We already looked at him. Very good even strength offense. Not great for the penalties here. A clever creator of high danger passing plays who takes a lot of minor penalties and draws very few. So not great in the differential. Developed great chemistry with Artemi Panarin. Hopefully he can develop that chemistry with Troy Terry. Let's hope so. 5 years, $5 million. I like that contract for Anaheim. They need money to get money in the system as well. They still have $30 million in cap space. So it makes sense to sign up Ryan Strome to that contract that they did. Let's see. I think that's just about it. Oh, actually, here it's Andre Palat as well. Did I miss anything else? No, Andre Palat signing with the Devils, 5 years, $6 million. It's a lot of money, but I think he's worth it. He's a second line winger who's pretty good at just about everything, but is more of a fill in the blanks kind of player. He's a glue guy. Great day for Yzerman, says John Murphy. I absolutely agree. No news yet on John Klingberg, but it does sound like the talks were re-engaged with Dallas, and now they are off. So he will not be returning to Dallas, it doesn't seem like. Mikey Strome owes Panarin his life, brought his career back. Yes, and got him paid very well. Palat, he does a lot well. He's played against high competition with good teammates by his side, but solid primary assists per 60, good even strength offense and defense, a good glue guy who will do well in New Jersey's top 6, I believe. So now we can start to see what some of these teams are looking like lineup-wise and salary cap-wise. Going back to Twitter to see if there's anything breaking right now. If there's any new stuff happening. Not seeing any of that. Looking in the Discord server where a lot of the news breaks. Love it in the Discord server because it's always giving me those notifications. So appreciate my trade breakers over there. I'm just going to open it up, see if anything is new. Palat is the most recent thing. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I just want to look at some of the tweets that I've liked over the course of the day. Let's see it right here. Some of the comments that I made about Buffalo's goaltending for sure. That's one point I'm thinking. Where do you think Patrick Kane and Dylan Strome are going to end up? Dylan Strome, I think, is going to end up on whichever team was in the hardest on Nazem Kadri and doesn't get him. Dylan Strome is going to be a big, but at the same time, teams will be going at him. So kind of similar to Strome and Trocheck and like Max Domi. You can't wait too long on these guys because another team will say, you know what, I'm just going to give them money and that's it. But Dylan Strome will capitalize if he waits a little bit on the Kadri market. So I couldn't tell you where I think he's going to go there. Patrick Kane, I think he starts the year in Chicago, but I don't think he stays very long, especially on an expiring contract. I'll tell you that. Night, Mikey. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. So Buffalo Sabres, now a team with not much to fight for in 2022-23, have 4 NHL caliber goalies in their system. So I found that a bit odd. The Lightning in 2023-24, they still have cap space, but they only have 13 players under contract. Not this next season, but the year after. And they'll have, if the salary cap stays at 81.5, the flat cap, they'll have 9.417 to sign the rest of their team. It is going to be extremely tight in Tampa Bay in 2023-24, but they're running it back in 2022-23. Detroit, in the last week, huge winners. Ville Husso traded and signed. Kopp signed. Perron, Kubalik, Sherratt, Mata, all signed up. 8th overall pick, Marco Kasper, bang. Huge offseason winners so far. Just heard that Edmonton are going for both, if not one. That would be really crazy. Edmonton, I don't think they don't have the money for that. They got to sign Yamamoto. They don't have the money for that. Eric Goodbranson, one of the worst of the day. The Philadelphia Flyers, they're an aggressive retooling team. They give $5 million for Tony DeAngelo. They give a contract to Justin Braun, 4 years for enforcer Nick Delorier. They don't trade JVR, and they miss out on Johnny Gaudreau. Flyers are spiraling. Speaking of spiraling, Carolina is going to be scary next season because Vegas is in shambles as they trade, ultimately, Nick Suzuki for literally nothing. Tough. They've now been forced to unload for no or minimal return due to salary cap crunch Max Pacioretty, Evgeny Dadonov, Marc-Andre Fleury, Nate Schmidt, Paul Stastny, and Cody Eakin. That is just twisted. In my opinion. So crazy stuff. Wonder what happens with Puljujarvi. I think he definitely moves. I do have to say, there's no way. I don't think I see them reconciling. It's more not the money. It's also what the team sees him as and what he sees himself as. Yeah, Jacob, good point there. The Kent Hughes press conference keeps getting delayed because he's working hard. Hope he does something massive. I could see a Jeff Petrie move happening, especially if Brent Burns not going to Dallas and now John Klingberg not returning. I definitely see the Dallas Stars being in on Jeff Petrie. Some of the tweets that I've liked, and I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game. I've been ragging on Darcy Kemper and those numbers came out. I got to apologize to him. Some of the tweets that I've liked today, some of the other things that have happened throughout the day. The Johnny Gaudreau sweepstakes 2022 colorized. Blue Jackets just walking out and taking it away from the Devils, Islanders, and Flyers. Puljujarvi in Montreal, Ottawa, or Vancouver. I could see Ottawa being a destination. Claude Giroux wanted to go to Ottawa, so the Sens cleared some cap space and built up a decent young core. Johnny Gaudreau wanted to go to Philly, so the Flyers overpaid multiple defensemen and backed themselves into a corner they couldn't get out of. Fire Chuck Fletcher. That's what Ryan Gilbert says here. Yeah. Is Calgary done, or will we see signing for a vet D or F? Well, they got Kevin Rooney, they got Zadorov. We'll look. The Calgary is one of the first teams we'll look at in terms of salary cap, what they have left to play with. But Tyler Toffoli was kind of their fallback should Johnny Gaudreau leave. So I don't think I see the Flames making too much more. I wouldn't say they're done, but I wouldn't say that they're in on like Kadri or Klingberg, the big names that are left in play. By the way, if you are curious about the names who are left in play, just looking quickly here, now that Palat has been signed, this is going to be updated. The top unrestricted free agents left, browsing the UFAs, and then let's sort by points that were scored last season. We still have Kadri, Bergeron, Kessel, Strome, Klingberg, Stastny, Niederreiter, Rodriguez, Milano, Donato, Yarncrow, and all kinds of names that are still out here in the UFA market. So we'll take a second look at the teams in just a moment. Just some more laughing at Vegas, unfortunately. They trade a first, a second, a third for Thomas Tatar. They trade Tatar and Suzuki for Pacioretty, and Pacioretty for nothing. What a wild ride. Crazy stuff, man. I think that's just about it, eh? Yeah, so I'll go ahead and close that off. We'll keep Twitter open in case any breaking news comes our way. But we'll start to look at the teams one by one now in terms of what they have. Johnny Gaudreau, I've never been to Columbus before I made it into the NHL. So when I started playing there, I didn't know what I was walking into. I was just, wow. But more than that, I played in the world of Zach Werenski. That's going to be a lot of tweets, so I don't need to look at all that. Eric Goodbranson, always fun. He wanted to go to Philly. He was telling his friends he wants to go to Philly. Yeah. Okay, so now we can get into looking at the salary cap situations. Let's start with the Pacific Division. I want to try and run through these relatively quickly. If there's not a lot to say, there's not a lot to say. The Ducks have $30 million to play with. They got to sign a few players. They could be a cap dump location for many teams, so they should absolutely take advantage of that. Calgary still has $19.5 million to play with, so they should be making other moves. That's why I said they're not done, but they still have stuff to do. They only have 8 forwards signed. They got to make some moves out here. 8 forwards. Throw Sean Monahan in there. You have 9. But, if you're going to go first line, maybe Monahan's back, whatever, you go, or maybe not. Let's say Backlund, Lindholm, Toffoli, first line. Actually, look at the depth chart. Actually, it's a lot easy. Yeah, Palat has signed in New Jersey. If your first line is Tkachuk, Lindholm, Toffoli, your second line is Mangiapane, Backlund, Coleman. Let's say your third line is Lucic, Monahan, Dubé. Your third line can be Ruzicka, Lewis, and Rooney, perhaps. So still a little bit to work on the defense. And I'd like the middle 6 to look a little bit better, especially the bottom 6, actually. Lucic, Dubé, Rooney, those guys can't be third liners. So the Flames should absolutely still be players. They're not done. They still have almost $20 million to play with. They are not done. That's Calgary. Going to the Edmonton Oilers here, who was the biggest loser this offseason, Philly or Calgary? I think Philly, because they could have had it and they lost it. While Calgary, if Gaudreau doesn't want to sign, you can offer him all the money in the world. If he's not going to sign, he's not going to sign. Yeah. Let's see here. So Oilers, let's see. They still have $1.3 million to play with. Not a lot at all. They got to get McLeod signed probably to a cheap 1-year kind of thing, but Yamamoto's going to want money. So who's on LTIR here? No one. Injured reserve, Clefbaum. So Clefbaum and Mike Smith there, if they're both LTIR, that'll free up about $6 million to get Yamamoto and McLeod signed up and maybe allow you to do something else later on. But Puljujärvi will not be staying in Edmonton, it sounds like. And it's pretty tight, but they should survive. Getting Brett Kulak signed was good. The defense starting to have a little bit of shape here as Darnell Nurse, Cody Ceci, and Brett Kulak are all going to be here until the end of 2025. And then after that, we can make a few more decisions, but at least there's a bit of stability there. Going to the LA Kings, as we're going to burn through all 32 teams here. The Kings have $2.3 million left to play with. They signed Brendan Lemieux, didn't do too much today. Getting Kevin Fiala was their big move of the offseason, absolutely. Gabe Velarde needs a contract. Michael Anderson, Sean Dursey. After this season, Jonathan Quick will allow them to free up a lot of money. Drew Doughty being back will, so that'll be okay. So the Kings are in an okay spot. Didn't do too much today. San Jose Sharks definitely made some moves today. The Oilers saving up their money, sign McDavid with enough money for when he's con. Yeah, that's not gonna be easy. The Oilers are not in a good spot for long-term stuff, I don't think. Let's see. The Sharks today made a lot of moves. They pick up Oscar Lindblom. They pick up Nico Sturm. They move out Brent Burns, and they bring in, where is he? He's probably gonna be down here now, in the system. Makiniemi, the goalie prospect there. So I like it. I like it for the Sharks today. They now have $9.5 million to play with. They kind of have to swallow the mistakes that the past have made, but I liked it. Now you got to start thinking about getting Timo Meier signed up longer term. You're gonna have to give a contract still to, and also they took in Steven Lorentz. Luke Kunin, Steven Lorentz, Mario Ferraro, those guys need contracts. Capo Kakinen. It's gonna be tough because Reimer and Hill are both signed on to real goalie money. They're making almost, they're making almost $4.5 million altogether. So signing Capo Kakinen for $2-3 million. Can you have 3 goalies making over $2 million? I don't know about that. But I do like that the Sharks have more to play with. They can do stuff more on their terms now. And it's just too bad it wasn't as good of a return as they could have gotten because they were in such a tight situation. Seattle made a few moves today, and they're looking good into the 2023 draft now that some of those picks are going to start coming back. As they signed Burakovsky to a big contract, they'll keep him here to 2027. I like that a lot for them. Shane Wright signs his ELC. Geeky and Lynn need some contracts there. They get Justin Schultz signed up, so now they have 6 defensemen, 6 nice serviceable defensemen. I forgot about Chris Drieger, so Martin Jones actually for $2 million. That's interesting. So Grubauer backed up by Drieger, and then Martin Jones at $2 million as a third goalie, kind of like a Braden Holtby in Dallas type thing back when they had Bishop, Kudobin, and Ottinger when he signed for $2 million there. Okay, not the craziest thing. They still have 10.6 to play with, and they pretty much just need a couple more forwards, maybe another defenseman. So Seattle's in a decent spot right now. Vancouver's in a very tight spot as they are already into LTIR money, 2.75 over. They have 3.5 of relief, so that leaves them with about $750K right now. Today, JT Miller definitely not coming back. Bo Horvat, I'd be surprised actually, even though he's the captain. That'll be a tough move to swing. They'd have to move somebody out for sure. They bring in Ilya Mikheyev at 4.75. They sign Andrei Kuzmenko officially to that 1-year contract. That's pretty much it for bringing stuff in today, I believe. Braden Holtby bought out back in the day. Just looking at their prospects here for a moment. Yeah, so they're over the salary cap. It's more a question of, Vancouver not in the greatest spot. So, okay, interesting. The GM already said Bo Horvat is coming back no matter what. Excuse me here. Didn't see that. Interesting. It's going to be tough. So if let's say he wants, $6 million, he wants a $500K increase. That means JT Miller definitely not coming back, and you're probably moving out. Well, Tyler Myers you're gonna have to swallow a cap dump there. So you got to move Tyler Myers, and it's going to cost you. By the way, the team that's over the salary cap already, this is the team: 12 forwards, 6D, 2 goalies. That's it. That leaves no room for anything else. So that's tough for Vancouver. Like I said, I don't mind that Mikheyev signing, but a bit curious as to why they are the team. I like the fit organizationally, but I don't know about contractually. So Tanner Pearson could be the go. Yeah, good point. Vegas, they're in a tight spot. They dump $7 million. They're still over the cap by 1.394. Using Shea Weber as relief will allow them to go over the salary cap still by a little bit, so that's okay with them. But still, they need another goalie. They need someone to back up Robin Lehner. They need another defenseman in the system, and they still need 3 more goalies, forwards, just to put a team on the ice. So we can kind of laugh at Vegas right now for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so with Keegan Colasar and Nicolas Roy signed on, that'll be 11. They still need more. And yeah, they're not in a good spot mentally, not in a good spot organizationally. They've dumped a lot just to get is Brossois back as Leonard's backup? I guess that could be true. They've dumped a lot of players and given up a lot just to be able to not even be able to do anything, just be able to cope with their decisions. With Martinez at 5.25 and Pietrangelo at 8.8 and Eichel at 10. Not going to be easy to be a Vegas Golden Knight fan moving forward, because it's going to be a lot of pain in terms of losing people that you care about. You lose Pacioretty, you lose Fleury, all in the name of trying to keep some of the other guys. So Vegas really have to push this season. Absolutely. They cannot afford a repeat of last year. But just to say, they made a lot of moves. They made some moves today, and it's going to bite them. I think it's going to bite them. Whether or not it works out, losing Pacioretty for nothing is never fun. Let's see here. What's this comment here? Let's see this from Crazy Cool. Is there a chance the Eichel trade could be a net negative for Vegas after having to offload Max and potentially more? It's possible. It's possible. It's I don't know if it's looking that way, but it's kind of trending that way organizationally. Like, the team has done these things in the past. It's becoming a trend. Moving now to the Central Division with the Arizona Coyotes. They were active today. They still have over $23 million to play with, so they can be another team that teams can dump cap on. Zach Cassian got dumped on them. Patrick Nemeth got dumped on them. So there you go. They have a line. They have a full lineup: 13 forwards, 9D. They could use another goalie maybe, but they have a ton of money, and they keep bring on those picks, back them in. Boop, boop, boop. 3 seconds and 4/3 in 2024, 4 seconds in 2025. That's great trade capital moving forward. The Coyotes will be a good team. Someday, they will be a good team. Someday. Is that someday soon? Don't think so. But it's coming. It is coming. And you know what? Good prospect. Barrett Hayton, Dylan Gunter. You got, what's his name? What's his name? It's going to kill me. Who's the guy that they just drafted? Somebody help me out here. Who did they just draft? What's his name? Cooley, Logan Cooley. I said just before Super Loser said it. I got it mentally. I got it. That's a win in my books. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Logan Cooley, that was a great pick as well. He's going to be the future of their franchise. So I like that a lot. I like the future of Arizona. They have cap space. They have salary. They have cap. They have picks. They have prospects. Knock those three out, and if you hit on 2 of those 3, I think you're set. Chicago Blackhawks, keep the laughs coming from Vegas for Chicago. They have 10.5 to play with, a few draft picks in the system. At least there's that. But Kane's expiring. Salut la visite. He's gone. Taves expiring. Salut la visite. He's gone. Athanasiou and Domi are just here to fill spots in the lineup. Yes, Slavkovsky did sign. Yeah, of course. And Geeky, of course. Connor Geeky. Very well said. Thank you. Arizona, though, needs an arena. They need defense in Chicago. They have 4 defensemen under contract right now. Marachik, the poor guy's going to get shelled night in and night out. Throw Connor Murphy in there. They have 5D, so at least there's that. But yeah, they buy out Connolly. They buy out Borgstrom. They have recapture penalty from Duncan Keith. This just, the hurt just keeps on coming for the Chicago Blackhawks. Contract prospects. They move on from Kirby Dach. They make a couple big draft picks in what's his name? Kevin Korchinski, and who's the other one they got? Now that one's escaping me. They got Korchinski and the other guy. So there's that. It's coming to me. It's on the tip of my tongue, but some of you will tell me. So they have some picks, but it's just a dumpster fire in Chicago. No chance that Kane and Taves both finish the year on the Hawks, I don't believe. Was it Frank Nazar? Is that who they got? Super Loser? Yeah, that Keith retirement really hurt them as well, for sure. I thought they got Korchinski for sure in the first round. Yeah, not much else to say on Chicago. Just they're the new Arizona. Sign random 1-year contracts to fill it up, and that's it. try and put a team on the ice and tank as hard as possible. What's going to make people laugh is if they don't end up winning the draft lottery and they don't get Connor Bedard. But the Blackhawks, maybe it's karma for what went on in their organization. It's going to be a painful year for Chicago. Moving on to the Colorado Avalanche now. Big day for Colorado as they keep most of the band together, and they still have $3.9 million in cap space to play with, really only losing Nazem Kadri and Andrei Burakovsky. As moving into 2023-24, you remove the Eric Johnson contract of $6 million, JT Compher and some other depth guys like Cogliano and Helm. You'll have the money to sign Nathan MacKinnon to his $9+ million contract. You have Landeskog, Nichushkin, Lehkonen, Makar, Girard, Manson, all signed long-term. I love this for the Avalanche. They're in a great position moving forward, and I thought that they would probably have to move on from a lot of these guys, but they bring everyone back aside from Kadri and Burakovsky, and they are looking like a solid team. Now the question might be the goaltending. Can you trust Georgiev and Francouz to be the tandem moving forward? I think you can, but many fans will be hoping against the Hawks getting Bedard or Michkov or any of those guys. Kadri to the Flames maybe to fill in for Gaudreau. I don't want to give you false hope. They have Backlund. They have Monahan. They want to move on from Monahan, obviously. I could see it, but I wouldn't say it's the most likely spot. But I could see it. They have the money to do it. So things are looking great in Colorado. I'm going to stop. I'm going to move on right away. Things are looking great in Colorado. I like the moves that they made today. Dallas today, they bring in Mason Marchment. They still have $11.5 million to sign Jason Robertson and Jake Ottinger. They should have the money to do that, and that will be pretty much it. Moving into 2023-24, they don't have much signed forward-wise, as all these guys need new contracts. Defensively, they have Heiskanen signed long-term, Lindell, a few other guys here, but they got to start thinking about longer term here in Dallas, and pretty much it's Sagan, it's Ben, it's Marchment, it's Faxa. That's all great. Pavelski's not going to be here for much longer, but you got to get Hintz, you got to get Gurionov, you got to get Robertson signed up long term. I don't know if they're quite moving it. I don't know if they need to rebuild Addy, but I like that they just got to give the right money to the right people. And Klingberg moving on from the team allows them to give that money to Robertson and Ottinger, which is good. So Dallas is in okay position, and I love the Marchment signing. So I will give them a thumbs up on the day. Minnesota Wild are in a very tough spot as they have $4.3 million to play with because they already have can I see it? No, I have to scroll down. Moving into next season, they have over $12.5 million tied up in Parise and Suter. And then the next year after that, they have 15 or $14.7 million tied up in Parise and Suter. Dead cap right there. So that's going to continue to haunt the Wild for a little while. No one really knows where Klingberg is going at this point. No. So 4.3 to play with. You got a team right now. You have a team, which is good. Boldy's going to need a contract soon. Matt Dumba is probably going to walk after this year, I would think. Philip Gustafsson, is he the future starter? I don't know. What's life after Marc-Andre Fleury? You thought it was Capo Kakinen. They moved him to San Jose. A bit curious there. So it's going to be tight in Minnesota moving forward. Moving Kevin Fiala hurt, but they definitely didn't have the money to re-sign him. I don't know if I love the depth right now on Minnesota. Looking at the lineup, Kaprizov, Eriksson, Ek, and Zuccarello, Greenway, Hartman, Foligno. Your third line's already Duhaime, Goudreau, and Boldy. Okay, Boldy's top six. Then Dewar, Jost. Marco Rossi making the NHL this year would be a big, big step for him. But yeah, it's going to be tough in Minnesota. They didn't do too much today, really. I don't think they really did anything, actually, that I can remember today. I don't believe so. Just the Gustus and Talbot trades so far. Nashville Predators, I don't think they did anything really. Yeah, they do have Wallstedt in the future. That's true. That's a bit more longer term, I suppose. Yeah, fair enough. I don't know if they can go right after Fleury, but yeah, Jesper Wallstedt. Nashville Predators, 9.6 to play with. Getting Philip Forsberg signed up was their big move of the offseason. Aside from that, not much happening today. No names I really remember happening. They move on from David Riddick. And their defense is set, goaltending set. They need a little bit more, a couple more forwards. They have John Leonard in there. Kyle Turris, dead cap, unfortunately. Could Cody Glass be in there? That's true. Cody Glass could be in there. Don't need to sign a forward if he's up there. I like Nashville's position right now. I think they have guys like Askarov. They have guys like Glass, who I just said. Defense, Yossi, who's just had a crazy year. They acquire Ryan McDonough. I'm not hating the Predators. I think they're going to have an okay season, especially if Duchesne can continue to have the type of year that he just had, and Philip Gustafson signed up now. I like it in Nashville. No big moves today, but I'm liking their position. St. Louis Blues. Hold on a second. Got the bot in here. I got a bot. Hold on. Let's take care of this. Block user. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Apologies for that. Got to take care of that. There we go. And report. There we go. Reported. Great. Be gone. Thank you. Back to St. Louis here. St. Louis definitely made moves today. That's for sure. Yeah, bots are all over the place. You'll never get away. St. Louis, big day for them. They're down for $2.5 million in cap space, but that's okay. They get a big extension for Robert Thomas. He'll be getting paid $8.125 per year starting in 2023-24, an 8-year extension. They signed Nick Leddy to 4-year extension, and they also get Thomas Greiss on a 1-year contract as the backup. Defense is set. Goalies are set. Forwards are pretty much set. It's going to be 2023-24. That's an issue with O'Reilly, Tarasenko, who's likely getting traded. So O'Reilly, Kyrou, Barbashev all need contracts, and the last two there definitely needing big upgrades. Kyrou and Barbashev, they're going to want big money, especially after Thomas just got a huge payday after the season that he had. So 2023-24 is going to be tough for St. Louis, but they're looking good heading into 2022-23. Nick Leddy, like I said, I'm not super impressed by him, but I do hope that he can thrive in a second to third pair role. I don't know if they're going to try and move on from Torrey Krug or whatever, but let's say Falk or Krug and Parayko your first pair, Falk and Scandella your second pair, Bortuzzo and Leddy your third pair. I see that. Yeah, but yeah, Kyrou, bona fide star for sure. I like that. I like how the Blues are doing. I think they had a good day today. Leddy is the only questionable move, I suppose, but I like what they're doing. Winnipeg Jets now, they have almost $15.3 million to play with. And what did they do on the day? They have a lot of stuff to do still. On the day, they didn't do much on the day, just getting David Riddick as a backup goalie. Yeah, if I'm a Jets fan, I'm a bit scared right now because you haven't re-signed Pierre-Luc Dubois. He's been in a lot of trade talks. You haven't re-signed Mason Appleton. Not a big deal, but you got to get somebody signed up. Mark Scheifele trade talks are still out there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 7 forwards. Like even a couple of these guys are Barron and Toninato really NHL guys. Maybe you have 6. Yeah. Why don't deals happen at midnight? They happen sometimes, but GM's got to sleep too. So you have like 6, 7 forwards in Winnipeg. You have 7 NHL caliber defensemen, it seems like, or at least 6. I'm not sure about Sandberg. You have a couple goalies. You have Cole Perfetti, who could be making a jump this season. Christian Vesalainen, he just hasn't really gotten it together. He's an RFA. I wonder what they're going to do with him. Ville Heinola, that's an 8th NHL caliber defenseman right there. So, it's tough. They have too many defensemen, not enough forwards, and a lot of cap space, and Winnipeg has to move. They got to make moves, man. They didn't do much today. They're one of my teams that I would have wanted to see more from. A good point there. Yeah, Ali's better. That's a good point right there. I would have wanted to see more from the Jets, and they may be having one of the worst free agencies right now. I do have to agree. Now headed into the Eastern Conference. The Carolina Hurricanes, big winners on the day, I believe. They still have $4 million to play with. And all you have to do is get Martin Necas and Ethan Bear signed up. That's all they got to do. And maybe Jake Gardner. I think he's healthy, but they could move him out. They could LTIR him again. I'm not sure. But you got Aho, Svechnikov. Let's look at the depth chart for a minute here. Your first line is Pacioretty, Aho, Jarvis, whatever. Your top 6 includes all these players right here. Svechnikov, Kotkaniemi, Teravainen. Maybe, take out Kotkaniemi, replace him with Necas even. Third line, you got Jordan Staal, Jesper Foss, you got Andre Kasha. Your defense is Slavin and Burns, Shea and Pesci, Bear and Chatfield. Your goaltending is Freddie Anderson, who just had a Vezina caliber season. You got Votes. East is loaded and the Hurricanes are looking amazing. They still have a lot of their draft picks pretty much. They have $4 million to play with. Yeah, Jordan Staal, Max Pacioretty, either not coming back, they're taking discounts next year or whatever. But for 2022-23, the Canes will be one of the strongest teams in the Eastern Conference. Very, very strong team that had a great day today. Another team had a good day today, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Got to give it to them. As they only have $3.16 million in cap space, but that's because they just signed the biggest fish of them all, Johnny Gaudreau. You have Jacob Voracek, Nyquist going to expire, whatever, but Bjorkstrand, Roslovic, Patrick Laine, you got to sign. Yeah, that's the problem, eh? You have 3.16 and you got to sign Laine. But you know what? I'm not afraid. No, actually, you know what? Let me think about this. Let me think about this here. And yeah, the KK offer sheet's hurting them a bit right now. A trade's got to happen. I don't know why you signed Eric Goodbranson for $4 million when you had to re-sign Patrick Laine, but a trade has to happen now. And with Johnny Gaudreau coming in the forward core here, that bumps Gustav Nyquist out of the top 6, in my opinion, at a $5.5 million cap hit. I think that a Nyquist trade would make the most sense. Cole Sillinger, Oliver Bjorkstrand, they want to get top 6 time as well. Already other guys, Alex Texier, they want to get into there. Kent Johnson, these young guys, they got to get good ice time. So I think the most curious move of the day is Eric Goodbranson, and the best move of the day is, or at least like talent-wise, is Johnny Gaudreau. So weird day for the Blue Jackets as they get the biggest fish, but then they give a lot of money to a guy who probably shouldn't have gotten it. Blue Jackets could turn into a Carolina-type team, says Crazy Cool. Small market team with a lot of respect league-wide and always a threat to go deep in the playoffs. Within a year or two, we could see Columbus in the conference semis. Interesting. Yeah, I doubt they get offer sheeted because of just how much that would cost. But I think the Blue Jackets would make it the match happen no matter what. Plus, Johnny Gaudreau, probably a big selling point was that they're going to be getting Patrick Laine signed up. So I think that I wouldn't be too afraid about Laine. It's just something has to give. And yeah, Adam Boquist signed an extension earlier on in the week. And I'm liking the Blue Jackets a lot with Johnny Gaudreau in the lineup. That's for sure. They won't be a bottom feeder this season. That is for certain. Moving on to the New Jersey Devils now, who missed out on Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah, definitely a scary top line in Columbus. They don't have the depth, but they have $17.48 million to play with after signing Andre Palat for $6 million. A lot of guys expiring next year. They still have to sign Boquist, Bratt, and Wood, plus probably another defenseman. You got to get Vanacek signed up. Probably, I don't know what's up with Bernier or if Mackenzie Blackwood's on his way out. Rough day in missing out on Gaudreau. Solid signing for Andre Palat, but you still have a lot of money and a lot of stuff that you could get done. So the jury's still out on New Jersey's offseason for sure. There's only a day one recap, but the New Jersey did well in getting someone. I will say that. Palat at 5x6, I like it. Just that too bad it's not the guy that they wanted in Johnny Gaudreau. But yeah, Corey Schneider bought out. Recapture penalty for Kovalchuk. Holtz might make the jump this season, but I don't want to do too much of a season preview. Just want to look at this day of free agency. New York Islanders also missing out on Johnny Gaudreau. They have over $11 million to play with. They still probably have to give a contract to Kiefer Bellows. You need to get the defense signed up. That's the biggest problem. Alexander Romanov and Noah Dobson are the ones they got to sign on. They have the money to do it. Goaltending is Varlamov and Sorokin once again. They have the money, but they got to get it done. And I don't know, is this forward core? They're running it back with the same forward core. I don't know if I like it. They didn't make any moves forward-wise, right? Lee, Nelson, Bailey, Parise, Barzal, yeah. So no changes really in New York. They made the big offseason move in acquiring Romanov, but a very quiet day for the Islanders, and I'm not sure I like that for them. I don't think I like that. A team like Winnipeg, I give them in a ranking like Winnipeg. I would have wanted to see more today. New York Rangers, they still have 5.583 to play with, and they need a couple forwards. They got to sign Capo Caco. They could use a couple defensemen, but they got their backup goalie in Yaroslav Halak. Sammy Blais is going to come back. You can go ahead and promote Vitaly Kravtsov, hopefully. He's definitely been in the NHL this season, so that's a forward that's taken care of right away. And that, yeah, pretty much. So they got another forward or two. Capo Caco's got to get re-signed. Only 5.5 to play with, though. I don't think I see the Rangers making any trades to dump anybody. So it's just that you got to make some smart moves. And of course, Vinny Trocheck, of course, the big move of the day. 7 years at 5.625. My apologies for glossing over that. I mentioned it earlier. Big deal there for the Rangers. He's their second line center of the future. Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, your first line. Trocheck, Lafreniere, Kako, your second, perhaps. Heidel not going to be trusted as that second line center just yet. So big day for the Rangers. I think I like it. Just got to be careful with that salary cap. Philadelphia Flyers, really rough day for them. They're even over the salary cap. They're going to finish bottom of the NHL. They're over the salary cap. This isn't like the Canadians where they're over the salary cap and they're finishing at the bottom because of Weber and Price. Who do they have on LTIR? Nobody. Couturier and Ellis are going to be back. They have no one on LTIR, and they're going to be terrible. I'm sorry. They're going to be terrible. Yikes. What did they do today? They didn't move JVR. They got Deloria on a 4-year contract. They got, what's his name? Justin Braun, 1 year, 1.75. They need a backup goalie, right? Who do they have down here? Felix Sanderson, maybe? Sandstrom, excuse me. Ratcliffe needs a contract. Wade Allison, some prospects who I don't know if they're cutting loose or what. Prospect pool isn't amazing. Cam York's going to take a bigger role this year. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a team this expensive be so bad. 7 plus mil for Hayes, 5+ mil for Ristolainen, 5 mil for D'Angelo. D'Angelo was good offensively with a solid offensive team in Carolina. I don't know if I see him doing super well with Philadelphia, unfortunately. Yeah, not much to say on Philadelphia aside from they blew it big time today. I understand them not wanting to move the first to get rid of JVR. I understand that absolutely, but they also are the ones that back themselves into this position. So they're currently over the salary cap. They're going to have to find a way to get under that. I don't know if someone's wearing LTIR or what, but disgusting days in Philadelphia. Pittsburgh are also over the salary cap right now. They got Malkin signed up. I like the Penguins a lot. They have Malkin, Crosby, Rust, Raquel, all at very reasonable cap hits. Carter Hart's going to have a tough year this year. I want Carter Hart to succeed, but he's not given the opportunity to because the team in front of him is so bad. A lot of these salary caps are very good on the Penguins. They're still a very good and competitive team. These salary cap hits, these AAVs are very digestible as well. I like this a lot. Chris Letang signed on as well. They got Jan Ruda signed up. I like that. They got, who was it? Dustin Tokarski signed up as well. Yeah, they got him signed up for the system. Pierre-Olivier Joseph, Xavier Ouellet, they got them signed up. Johan Larsson signed up. Not a bad day for the Penguins at all. I liked what they did today over the offseason. Today they didn't do much. I meant to say the offseason. I like the numbers that they got their core re-signed at. It might hurt when these guys are getting older. They're already old. They're still performing. I like it a lot. I like Pittsburgh. I'm in their corner. I am in Pittsburgh's corner. Now the only question is, do they get Kasperi Kapanen signed back up? Can they move a defenseman maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of their top 6 are making over $4 million. That's tough. Definitely tough. But that concludes the match. The Washington Capitals. Also players today, as they have, what are they playing with right now? They are over the salary cap by $2.871 million. They went ahead and got Connor Brown from the Ottawa Senators in exchange for a second-round pick in 2024. They got Marcus Johansson, 1 year, 1.1. They got Darcy Kemper and Charlie Lindgren as their new backup. I didn't see that. Lindgren, 3 years at 1.1 per season. Interesting. So Darcy Kemper. So if Carl Hagelin is LTIR, that would pretty much solve their problems. But Kemper and Lindgren, the new tandem in Washington. I didn't know that about Charlie Lindgren. So that's news to me. That's cool. Charlie Lindgren signing as backup in Washington. They could use their entire defense, aside from John Carlson, is gone after next season. And so is a lot of their depth, aside from their core. So it's going to be tough times in Washington in 2023-24, as I've been saying for a few of these teams now. But they're looking okay in 2022-23. I will say that. Not a bad day for them. No, not a bad day for them, considering what they had at their disposal. Moving on to the Atlantic Division now. Excuse me, I never took this. Yeah, sorry, I thought I hadn't taken the comment off, but I had taken it off. Going into the Atlantic Division, which will be a dogfight. Here we go, starting with the Boston Bruins. They have 4.758 to play with, and they still have to get Bergeron and potentially David Krejci signed on. Pavel Zacha may not even be a Boston Bruin because I don't know if they'll have the money for him. But today they did make that trade. Eric Howla moving out, Zacha coming in. Unfortunately, they have a lot of money tied up in their D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 of their top 6 D men making $3 million or more. Paying $6 million for your bottom pair, that's really tough. You got to move one of Forbort or Riley, in my opinion. Maybe even Allmark to free up enough money to get everybody signed on. It's tough times in Boston, I do have to say. Again, another team that in 2022-23 might be able to handle it. Maybe Bergeron takes a friendly deal, whatever. But headed into 23-24, Pastrnak has to get money. You're losing a lot of these guys. Yes, Marchand's on a solid deal. Taylor Hall's solid enough deal. But the defense is taking a lot of salary cap right now. A lot. I don't know what the average team takes in salary, but 11.5 plus, like, I'm trying to do the quick math in my head here. 11.5 plus 5 brings you to 16.5 plus 4, 20, so 21 plus 7, 20, so we're at 28.9 plus another 7.2. We're at like 35% of the salary cap for your top 6D. Is that normal? I don't know. It's like the top guys are making as much as some other top guys, but throughout the average price, it's a lot. It's a lot. Moving on in the division. So the Bruins are going to have a lot of company in the division this year. They're going to be fighting. They're going to be scrapping it out with a lot of these teams. Probably not the Buffalo Sabres, but they're another destination. They're the Eastern Conference destination for a team that needs a salary dump right here. Yeah, Mike Riley, Derek Forbort, the problems. They have over $20 million in salary cap. Today, they extend Victor Olofsson for 2 years at 4.75, a great contract in my opinion. They got Vinny Hinostroza, 1 year, 1.7. They got Ilya Lyubushkin, 2 years, 2.75. I like that. And Eric Comrie, 2 years at 1.8. So yeah, solid enough day for Buffalo. No one's really expecting them to do much. They still have their salary, their cap space. They are, they're just trudging along. They're not going to be making a push this season, but hopefully it's a season in which guys like Tage Thompson and Jack Quinn, Peyton Krebs can continue to take steps. Alex Tuch is signed longer term. Jeff Skinner's signed longer term. Got to get Rasmus Dahlin signed up longer term soon. The goaltending is definitely an issue. Hopefully Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen can be their guy, but I don't know. You got to get him signed up. He's also an RFA. So he'll need a contract, and that money won't be a problem for Buffalo, who were players today. Not major players, but they were players today. Now, Dexter, welcome back. The big winners of the day, I think, in my opinion, are the Detroit Red Wings as we are getting close to wrapping up our day one recap. The Detroit Red Wings have all their picks, plus a couple other teams. They signed Andrew Kopp, 5 years, 5.625. They signed David Perron, 2 years, 4.75. These are the AAVs, mind you. Excuse me. Dominic Kubalik, 2 years, 2.5. Ben Sherratt, 4 years, 4.75. Oli Mata, 1 year, 2.25. Ville Husso traded for and signed at 3 years, 4.75. And then don't forget that you also went ahead and signed Marco Kasper, the 8th overall pick, to a 3-year entry-level deal. Simon Edvinsson, Sebastian Cossa, Joe Veleno, what's his name? Gustav Lindstrom, Moritz Seider, of course. There is so much young talent. Has Detroit surpassed Boston? Now that is a question. Detroit is going to be good this year. Out of nowhere, they're going to be good. Give me a fully healthy Verana and these additions that the team has made. Give me some more skill from Lucas Raymond. You still have all over 11 million to get Zadina signed up, Wallman, whatever. You have your money for your Dylan Larkin extension, your Bertuzzi extension. I love this for the Red Wings. They're in a great position. I'm a big fan of Stevie Y, and he is looking good. Legend, good night. Thanks for being here. Red Wings, huge winners on the day, and I love what they had to do. Robbie Fabry's going to be in here. He's probably back to health. So looking at the depth chart before I move on from the Red Wings, depth chart, Larkin, Bertuzzi, Larkin, Raymond, Verana, Kopp, Perron, Kubalik, let's say Fabry, and this is tough. How do I fit these guys in? Kubalik, Suter, Ansdina, Fabry, Rasmussen, Sundqvist. Like, there's some talent here in Detroit. There is some talent, and I'm loving it. Florida Panthers also busy on the day, more in the losing players than getting players. They lose Giroux, they lose Marchment. They're over the salary cap by 2.275. With the Barkov extension kicking in now and the Verhaeghe extension kicking in now, you'll need some contract extensions for Jonathan Huberdeau and for Mackenzie Weegar coming up. So that's not going to be easy moving forward. That's not going to be easy. But heading into 2022-23, the team still looks solid. Ekblad, Montour, Weegar, Forsling, Gudas, and whoever these guys in your bottom pair. Bobrovsky and Knight, not bad. Eric Stahl on a PTO, I don't mind it. The battle for fourth in the division will be very interesting. The Atlantic, definitely a place to keep the eye on. Florida today, other moves that they did, they acquire Colin White, they acquire Nick Cousins. I believe that was it for what they did on the day. Yes. 2 forwards, 2 depth forwards for them. Grigory Denisenko probably wants to make the NHL this season as well. Heponiemi might want to be pushing. Yeah, I like it. Devils at the bottom. I don't know. Well, getting Palat was big. Getting Andre Palat was big for them, but I still don't see them making a big push just yet. Florida, this is how they're looking, and they don't have their first or third this year. They don't have their first in the year, or first or second the year after that. Going to be some tough times for Florida coming up. I don't know who's on their LTIR, but someone has to be because they're 2.275 over. Florida's going to be one of the strongest teams for sure, but not a big day for them in free agency. Le Canadien Montréal, small day for them, not making many moves. Jeff Petrie deal could be coming in. They don't have a lot of salary cap, absolutely, but they're starting to acquire some picks. They're, Evgeny Dadonov this offseason was added to the mix. Slavkovsky signed his ELC. Very happy to see that. Pizzetta was re-signed. Kirby Dach will need his RFA contract, so moving out Petrie will make that easier. Justin Barron, I'm excited to see more from him. Chris Weidman was re-signed. Samuel Montembeault probably needs his contract. Maybe Price likely starts the season on LTIR. That could be it. Palat picked up just a couple hours ago, I believe. Just a couple hours ago. Canadians, nothing special today. They re-signed Belzile. They re-signed Teasdale. Nothing really crazy. They got Madison Bowie. A couple little things happening, but nothing major for the Montreal Canadiens. Anthony Richard, Mitchell Stevens joining the Canadiens down in Laval, all that. So Canadians, their moves will probably come from trades going forward, but their moves came at the trade deadline. Those were their moves. Palat signed to 11 o'clock or something? Yeah, something like that. Palat, 5 years, $6 million, was it? With the New Jersey Devils? Let me see here. I can get Palat. Or do I gotta go see Jay Fresh? Jay Fresh, where you at? Not seeing it, so I'll just pull it up quickly. Jay Fresh. If you want to see that signing, there we go. Like an hour, something like a little over an hour ago. 5 years, $6 million, solid metrics for the Devils. There you go. Moving on from the Canadiens now. Montreal Canadiens. In the Atlantic, moving on in the Atlantic, Ottawa Senators, a team that's fighting as well. Like, who's fighting the Atlantic? Out of nowhere, the Red Wings are fighting. The Bruins are fighting. The Senators, the Panthers, the Lightning, the Leafs, 6 out of the 6 out of the 8 teams in the Atlantic are fighting. Something to be said right there. So the Senators, big day for them, big offseason in general. They still have almost $20 million to play with after acquiring Claude Giroux, acquiring Alex DeBrincat, acquiring Cam Talbot. They still have to use that 19.59 to sign Formenton, Joseph, and Josh Norris. Absolutely, Brandstrom. So they won't have as much money left over. But a huge day for the Ottawa Senators in acquiring Claude Giroux. They still have Tyler Boucher. He's not going to make the jump this year. I don't think I see any of you guys make the jump. Jacob Bernard Docker going to be playing in the NHL a lot, I think, this season. So he's another D-man for the Senators, as well as Jake Sanderson. But, the Senators still need more forwards. Add these 3 right here, they get to 11. Pierre Dorion having a good offseason, one of the biggest twists of the offseason. So good to see for Ottawa. I like that 3-year deal for Giroux. I like it a lot for the Senators. Hopefully he finishes this year off in the sunset with Philly, but what a day for Ottawa. They're definitely winners as well. Tampa Bay, a big day for them as they get big extensions signed up. In terms of this season, they get Nemesnikov signed back for 1 year. Ian Cole, 1 year, $3 million. Hayden Fleury, 2 years league minimum, and that's it. Now, the 8-year extension for Cirelli, the 8-year extension for Chernak, the 8-year extension for Mikhail Sergachev. The Lightning, going back to my tweet over here, I believe I have the numbers right. So here are the numbers for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Moving into 2023-24, they will have cap space. They will have about, if the flat cap stays the same, they'll have $9.417 million in cap space. That's good, but only 13 players under contract. So just to get a team on the ice, they got to sign 5 more guys. Then, of course, you need some other people around there. Can it be done? Yes, but you're definitely riding your core. That's for sure. 13 players under contract for $72.083 million. That's quite an average contract for those 13 players. What's that, like over $6 million a contract? Yeah, it's going to be tight. It is going to be tight in Tampa. But for 2022-23, they're looking great. I think they're ready to make another run. They are poised to do so, and I'd put them as one of the odds-on favorites. Absolutely. Even in 23-24, even just those 13 guys, they're still, they're good players. The good players are still there. The core is intact, especially Brandon Hagel, who will have another year till 24-25. That'll be huge for them as they'll be in a tight situation. I'm liking it in Tampa. They had a good day today. Julien Brisebois had a good day. They're over the cap by 7.195, removed 6.87 from Brent Seabrook. You're still over by a little bit, but I'm sure they'll be able to figure it out. Yeah, we should be sleeping. We're almost done. Anything new? Not in terms of signings, no. And we'll close it off with the Toronto Maple Leafs, who also had some moves today, but curious. They have $2 million to sign Rasmus Sandin and Pierre Engvall. I don't know if Pierre Engvall is coming back since they signed Adam Gaudette. They signed Nicolas Aube-Kubel. They signed Dennis Malgin. So I believe they signed Dennis Malgin, right? Is he not in here? I thought they did. Yeah, there he is, Dennis Malgin. So I don't know. They have a lot of guys in the system here. Tough day for the Maple Leafs. Personally, I don't think literally. Tough day because tough off season. I don't know if I like the Matt Murray deal. I don't like that they're so tight here on Rasmus Sandin, and they had a few. Maybe you should have let the depth be the depth. Yes, Wayne Simmons is not great, and yes, Kyle Clifford isn't great either. But I'd rather get Pierre Engvall signed up. Maybe I don't know. Is it that hard to trade these guys away? I don't know. Good night, Rory. Thanks for being here. I don't know. I can't speak because I don't know behind the scenes, but I feel like the Maple Leafs could have done a bit more, or still could do some to dump some cap and get these guys signed up. Pierre Engvall is a great bottom 6 guy. I would really want Toronto to keep him. And Rasmus Sandin is a top 4 D-man for you. You got to get him signed up. Signing Ilya Samsonov, I think, was a slam dunk for sure. But yeah, tough day because their division got a lot better. That's true. Not a tough day necessarily in terms of stuff they did do or didn't do, but a few things that make me scratch my head over the course of this offseason, and Kyle Dubas definitely has a lot riding on this team doing well. And his job just got a lot harder with the Atlantic Division being so good. So going back through just the signings of the day, the signing tracker, I went through it all actually. I don't think we'll go back through that. The recap, it's been a pretty big recap from start to finish, actually. After all the signings, who do you think will be the top of their division next year? Top of the Atlantic, I think it's probably still Florida. Actually, no, sorry. I think it's Tampa followed by Florida. And then the last divisional spot, I guess it's still Toronto. But it's boring to kind of say what just happened. What was it this year? Florida, Toronto, Tampa. I'm going to say now Tampa, Florida, Toronto. But I guess that's I'm sure most people are saying that. I doubt it'll actually be that, but that's what I'm thinking in response to that question. I think I recapped pretty much everything, so there's not much left for me to say. I think I went through every team situation. It's been a long live stream, so thanks for everybody being here and enjoying here after over an hour and a half. I want it to be a bit shorter, more concise, but we started going through each player, their graphic on JFresh, as well as each team's cap situation. So I'll try to add some timestamps to this to kind of make it a bit clearer. But thank you to those who were joining in for a recap of day one of NHL free agency. I don't think we'll get many more live streams in for breaking news and stuff like that. Maybe Nazem Kadri signing coming soon. But I was trying to take the week off from uploads to just focus on the real world, as there was the draft and the free agency. Now with free agency day one taken care of, I might step back a little bit more, as I'll probably take the weekend off and get back to Flyers franchise mode and all that good stuff headed into next week. No problem. Thanks for being here, Dexter. Not sure why I didn't give you the notification. Make sure you hit that bell. The Pacific is not good. Yeah, that's for sure. Who knows? The Kings might win it even. But yeah, I'll do like a season preview video and all that stuff moving forward. Still a lot to be figured out in free agency. A lot of teams doing a lot of stuff. Still, that's what I want to finish off on. Looking at the free agents who are still available. So to close it off, who is still out here in free agency headed into day 2 of NHL free agent frenzy? PK Subban. Let's sort by points here. Kadri, Bergeron, Kessel, Strome, Klingberg, Stastny, Niederreiter, Rodriguez, Pitlick, Milano, Heinen, Gagne, Donato, Yarncrow, Janmark, Ennis, Strawman, Balsers, Chiasson, Subban, Dahlin, Boyle, Rask, Galchenyuk, Sprong, Steele. Some lower end guys now, but still a lot of decent NHL caliber names on here. Michael Del Zotto, a solid D-man. He's out here. So still a lot to be said here for a lot of the teams left in the NHL, especially the biggest name being Nazem Kadri. I'm curious as to where Kessel, Strome, Klingberg, also, and Milano especially also will be going. Still might take a few days for that to be figured out, but teams can still make a difference in their franchise. Their franchises still have an opportunity to be altered by a smart decision. Dexter, it's hit favorite and only streamer I watch. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you for saying so. I could see the Flames fighting for it as well. Yeah, I could see the Flames be, there's still a lot of teams that are going to be throwing their hats. Like, just like how the Blue Jackets made a surprise move at Goudreau, there will be other teams making surprise moves. So thank you everyone for stopping by tonight. I know it's late. It's 1:30 a.m. Eastern, whether you're watching this as it's live or after it's posted as for your wake up. I hope you're able to just breeze through it a little bit, as I went a little more in depth than I thought I would, recapping the day. There was a lot to say. It was a fun first day in free agency, so thanks for being here. Be sure to like the video if you had an opportunity to drop by and enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already for breaking live streams, NHL analysis, franchise mode in NHL, FIFA, MLB, and much, much more. So if you enjoy this, I'm sure you'll enjoy everything else that happens here on the channel. Take a second to check it out, and I'm sure that I know that the team will be much stronger with you as a part of it. Good night, Vinny. Good night, Super. Thanks everyone for being here. Appreciate all you guys, all you ladies and gentlemen, taking the time. So everyone sleep well. Looking forward to a fun day of free agency tomorrow. Everyone get some shut-eye, and we'll talk soon. Thank you very much, and good night.